This is a short video to describe the Restorative Solutions and Making It Workbook that Helen Mahaffey and myself, Colin Newton, wrote in 2008 on behalf of Inclusive Solutions. And we hope you'll enjoy this, and it will give you some sense of what's actually in this book. Cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but one must take it because it's right. Martin Luther King, of course. And this book is about thinking very carefully about what is right. Is it right to punish? Is it right to reward? Or can we find a better way of working within relationships when harm is caused? The heart of restorative working or restorative justice, which is reflected in this book, is all about mending relationships, about working in the space between human beings, children and adults, children and children, young people and young people and adults, and thinking about what we can do to transform those relationships, particularly when harm is caused. So the nice thing about the book, I think, is it's very practical. Although it starts with some of those big, deeper questions, it gets right into the detail. The practicing teachers, social workers, youth workers, other kind of practitioners can get hold of and use tomorrow, as well as family people. It's very practical, it's very step by step in thinking exactly what to do when faced with a situation where harm has been caused by two or more people. It helps you assess whether the time is right to actually undergo some kind of restorative conference, some kind of restorative conversation, and it also takes you through exactly the questions you would be asking, from what happened, what were you thinking at the time, what were you feeling, what will you need to make things right, and of course the really all-important question, what happens if this happens again? What will you do? Who will help you when faced with those situations? Some people are going to ask, does this work? Well, now we can say, based on international research, research in Scotland, research across England also, that there is a predominantly positive picture. Restorative work may not be the ultimate panacea or silver bullet for all the challenges of our society, but it does hold incredibly strong promise for tackling the challenges of conflicted relationships and hard to manage behaviour in our schools and communities. The research you'll find well spelled out in the book. The data is obviously often hard to interpret, but it's also quite clear in terms of quantitative outcomes that exclusions have been impacted upon positively, bullying has been reduced, and levels of attendance have improved. So lots of positive evidence has been gathered. So I think predominantly the answer, does it work, is yes in most cases. Restorative Solutions form a new initiative in a number of schools aimed at resolving issues of conflict and victimisation affecting pupils' life at school. The approach considers the views and wishes of all those involved in a dispute or victimising incident and attempts to resolve problems in a calm and positive way, putting right the harm that's been done. It works in this way. Each school involved in any kind of restorative project or culture has a link person who's a member of staff who's been fully trained in restorative methods. Also, other members of staff have usually been trained as facilitators too. In a dispute, the trained member of staff offers those involved the chance to attend a restorative conference. The problems can be helped by a restorative conference include bullying, name-calling, assaults, harassment, truancy, theft, inter-pupil conflict, and even pupil-teacher conflict. The purpose of restorative conferences is to bring together in a structured and controlled meeting all those affected by a particular incident in school, and to allow these issues to be discussed in a calm manner, without any judgment. The other purpose would be to look at ways to put right the harm the incident has caused, and to end up with some kind of written contract or certificate, depending on the age of the children, of the actions that are going to be taken. It's meant to be supportive of all concerned, being able to continue in their school life safely, restoring relationships, often restoring friendships. So that gives you some idea. And in terms of results, the pupil who's been harmed usually gets a chance to speak for him or herself and say how the incident's affected or harmed him or her. The person whose behaviour has caused the problem sees the effect of the incident and is given the chance to put things right. She or he is not seen as a bad person. It's only the specific incident and things relating to that incident which is discussed. Because it's generally a positive and a healing experience, sometimes transformative, the risk of repeating the incident generally is reduced. And this is well researched now in terms of the efficacy. This benefits those people who are important to the pupils as well as the wider community. It breaks down barriers. Those who are involved may become initially supportive and remain in contact. The agreement, that written agreement I spoke of earlier, is a commitment shared by all present to see that harm is truly put right. Relationships are the foundation of a good personalised school. You cannot build relationships without first cultivating a culture of trust and respect. If kids are going to be respectful, they must feel respected. That's Litkey in 2002, very famous for his work on small schools. Restorative justice as a new paradigm has much promise, and its power to change lives has sometimes been underestimated. It is no silver bullet. Sometimes it proves no more effective, or in some cases even less effective, than traditional criminal justice procedures. Its effectiveness is also dependent on the circumstances surrounding the offence and the offender. Nevertheless, the evidence to date strongly supports the continued and concerted use of restorative justice, with careful attention to the accumulation of further evidence about the conditions under which it proves to be most effective. That's Strang and Sherman in 2007. I think the thing I really love, and we've tried to get across in this book here, is that this is a fine set of processes and tools to strengthen an inclusive approach to working with children and young people with the most challenging behaviour. We have to find other ways of working with them, maintaining their sense of belonging and acceptance, but also enable them to be challenged and to learn about their behaviour and their relationships. Commend it to you. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening.